What if I told you the reason you feel empty sometimes has nothing to do with your life and everything to do with who you think you need? Look at your own life for a second. One person replies, "Late," and your mood shifts. One person pulls away and your mind starts racing. One person leaves and suddenly it feels like something inside you is missing. Be honest. Why does your peace depend on someone else's presence? Why does your happiness rise and fall based on how someone treats you? Why do you feel okay only when someone chooses you? Because you were never taught how to stand on your own. You were taught to depend, to seek validation, to believe that someone out there will complete you. And, without realizing it, you built your happiness on people, on attention, on approval, on connection. But here is the truth that will change everything. The more you need people, the more power you give them over your mind, over your emotions, over your peace. And that's why you overthink. That's why you feel anxious. That's why you keep chasing people who are not even choosing you fully, because your mind believes, "I need them to feel okay." But what if that belief is the real problem? What if the reason you feel restless is not because people leave, but because you made them your source of happiness? Because as long as you need someone to feel complete, you will always be afraid of losing them. And fear will never allow you to feel peace. But in this video, you're going to see something most people never realize. You're going to understand why you feel empty when you're alone, why you keep going back to what drains you, why your mind keeps chasing what doesn't stay, and most importantly, how to take your power back, not by pushing people away, but by no longer needing them to feel whole. Because the moment you stop needing people, you don't lose love, you lose fear. And in that moment, for the first time in your life, you become free. You're not loving. You're emotionally dependent. Let's be honest for a moment. What you call love doesn't always feel peaceful, does it? It feels heavy. It feels stressful. It feels like something is always about to go wrong, because deep inside it, there is fear. Fear that they might ignore you. Fear that they might lose interest. Fear that someone else might take your place. And once fear enters a connection, it quietly changes everything. You stop feeling safe. You start feeling uncertain. You start needing constant reassurance just to feel okay. You check your phone again and again, hoping for a message. You read simple texts over and over, trying to find hidden meaning. You wait and wait, and your mind keeps creating stories. Why are they not replying? Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? And slowly, your peace disappears. Not because something actually happened, but because your mind is now dependent on them. And this is the truth most people don't want to face. This is not love. Love does not make your heart restless. Love does not make you feel like you are not enough. Love does not make you question your value every single day. Real love feels calm. It feels safe. It feels like you can breathe, even when they are not around. But dependency feels different. Dependency makes you feel like you need someone just to feel okay. Like without them, something is missing inside you. And that's where suffering begins. Because the moment your happiness depends on someone else, you give them control over your emotions, over your peace, over your mind. And without realizing it, you are no longer living freely. You are reacting to them, waiting for them, needing them. But the moment you see this clearly, the moment you understand that your peace should never be in someone else's hands, something inside you starts to change. You stop calling it love, and you start seeing it for what it really is: attachment. And that awareness is the first step toward freedom. The more you need people, the more you disappear. Have you ever noticed how you start changing the moment someone becomes too important to you? At first, you are natural. You speak freely. You laugh without thinking. You are fully yourself. But slowly, something shifts. You start thinking before you speak. You start wondering how they will react. You start adjusting your words, your tone, even your personality. Not because you want to, but because you don't want to lose them. And without realizing it, you begin to shrink. You stop saying what you truly feel. You hide the parts of you that might not be accepted. You pretend to be okay, even when you're not. You agree, even when you disagree. You stay silent, even when something hurts you. Why? Because you need them. And when you need someone too much, you start sacrificing yourself to keep them. You trade your truth for their approval. You trade your peace for their presence. You trade your identity just to stay connected. And slowly, you disappear. Not all at once, but little by little. In the way you stop expressing yourself. In the way you hold back your thoughts. In the way you become someone you don't even recognize anymore. And the painful part is, even if they stay, you are no longer there. Because the version of you they are connected to is not the real you. It's a version you created to be accepted. But real connection does not require you to lose yourself. Real connection allows you to be fully seen without fear. It allows you to speak honestly without overthinking. It allows you to exist without shrinking. So, if you feel like you are slowly disappearing in someone's presence, that is not love. That is dependence. And the truth is simple, even if it's hard to accept. The more you need people to stay, the more you lose yourself trying to keep them. But the moment you choose yourself, the moment you decide that your voice matters, your feelings matter, your truth matters, something powerful happens. You stop shrinking. You stop pretending. You stop chasing acceptance. And, for the first time, you start coming back to yourself. No one is coming to complete you. From a very young age, you were quietly taught something that shaped the way you see love without even realizing it. You were taught that somewhere out there is a person who will complete you, a person who will understand you perfectly, heal your wounds, remove your loneliness, and finally make your life feel whole. And because of this belief, you began searching for someone who could fill the emptiness inside you, searching for someone who could make everything feel right, searching for someone who could give you the peace you couldn't find on your own. But here is the truth that most people spend years avoiding. No one is coming to complete you. And this is not something to feel sad about. This is something to understand deeply, because it will set you free. Because the moment you believe someone else will complete you, you unknowingly give them a responsibility they were never meant to carry. You expect them to fix your sadness. You expect them to remove your insecurities. You expect them to always be there in the exact way you need. And when they don't meet those expectations, you feel hurt. You feel disappointed. You feel like something is missing again. But the problem was never them. The problem was the belief. The belief that you are incomplete on your own. Look closely at that feeling of emptiness you carry sometimes. It feels real. It feels heavy. It feels like something is missing. But that feeling is not asking for a person. It is asking for your attention. It is asking for you to sit with yourself instead of running away. It is asking for you to understand yourself instead of distracting yourself. Because the truth is, you don't feel empty because someone is missing. You feel empty because you have been disconnected from yourself. And no matter how many people enter your life, that disconnection will remain until you face it. This is why even people in relationships feel lonely. This is why even surrounded by others, a person can feel empty inside. Because no one can fill a space that you have not taken responsibility for. Completion is not something another person gives you. It is something you build within yourself. It is created when you learn how to be okay on your own. When you learn how to sit in silence without needing distraction. When you learn how to face your thoughts without running from them. When you learn how to give yourself the understanding you were looking for in others. And when that happens, Something shifts inside you. You no longer look at people as something you need. You begin to see them as something you can share your life with. Not to complete you, but to walk beside you. And that changes everything, because now you are not chasing someone to fill a void. You are choosing someone from a place of wholeness, from a place of peace, from a place where you already feel complete. And that is the difference between attachment and true connection. One comes from emptiness. The other comes from fullness. So, understand this clearly. No one is coming to complete you, because you were never incomplete to begin with. You were just looking in the wrong direction. And the moment you turn inward, you will realize everything you were searching for in others was always within you. Attachment is quietly creating your anxiety. Have you ever wondered why your mind feels so restless when you get attached to someone? Why your thoughts don't stay calm anymore? Why small things suddenly start to feel big? Why your peace slowly begins to disappear? At first, everything feels good. You feel connected. You feel happy. You feel like you've found someone important. But slowly, something begins to change inside you. You start paying more attention to everything they do. Not in a calm way, but in a careful, watchful, almost anxious way. You notice how long they take to reply. You notice the tone of their messages. You notice when their energy feels slightly different. And your mind starts asking questions. Why are they taking so long? Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Is something changing? And even when nothing is actually wrong, your mind doesn't stay quiet. It keeps thinking. It keeps analyzing. It keeps creating problems that don't even exist. This is how attachment works. It doesn't just create connection. It creates constant mental noise. Because now, your peace is no longer stable. It depends on something outside of you. It depends on how they behave, how they respond, how they treat you. And the moment your peace depends on someone else, anxiety quietly enters your life. You start waiting for messages. You start checking your phone again and again. You start feeling uneasy when there is silence. You start imagining worst-case scenarios without any real reason. And the more attached you become, the more your mind loses its ability to stay calm. Because attachment brings fear. Fear of losing them. Fear of being replaced. Fear of not being enough. And fear always creates anxiety. It keeps your mind alert. It keeps your heart restless. It keeps you in a constant state of tension. You may not even notice it at first, but over time, it drains you. It takes away your focus. It steals your peace. And the most dangerous part is, you start thinking this is normal. You start thinking this is what love feels like. But this is not love. This is emotional dependence. Because real love does not disturb your mind. It does not make you overthink every small detail. It does not make you feel insecure about your place in someone's life. Real love feels steady. It feels clear. It does not leave you guessing all the time. So if your mind feels constantly restless, if your thoughts are always running, if you feel anxious without any clear reason, look deeper. It may not be them. It may be your attachment, because attachment ties your peace to someone else. And the moment they change, your peace disappears. But when you begin to let go of that need, when you stop depending on someone to feel okay, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes quiet again. You stop overthinking every small thing. You stop creating problems that are not real. You stop living in fear of losing someone. And, for the first time, you feel stable within yourself. Because now, your peace does not depend on anyone. And when your peace is yours, anxiety has no place to stay. You're not lonely. You're disconnected from yourself. Most people are not afraid of being alone. They are afraid of what they feel when they are alone. The silence, the stillness, the absence of distraction. Because in that quiet space, there is nowhere to run, no messages to check, no conversations to hide in. No noise to escape into, just you and your own mind. And for many people, that feels uncomfortable. It feels heavy. It feels empty. So they call it loneliness. But what if that feeling is not loneliness at all? What if it is simply disconnection from yourself? Think about it. You can be surrounded by people and still feel empty. You can be talking, laughing, interacting, and still feel something missing inside. Why? Because the problem is not the absence of people. The problem is the absence of connection with your own self. You have spent so much time focusing on others, understanding others, seeking attention from others, that you slowly stopped paying attention to yourself. You stopped listening to your own thoughts. You stopped understanding your own emotions. You stopped being present with yourself. And, over time, that connection became weaker. So now, when you are alone, it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels unfamiliar. It feels uncomfortable. Because you are sitting with someone you don't fully know anymore, yourself. And instead of facing that feeling, you try to escape it. You reach for your phone. You look for someone to talk to. You distract yourself with anything that keeps you from being alone. But the more you run from yourself, the stronger that feeling becomes. Because it is not something that can be filled by people. It is something that can only be healed by reconnecting with yourself. And that begins with something very simple, but very powerful. Learning to sit with yourself without distraction. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will wander. Your thoughts will feel loud. You may feel restless, even anxious. But that is not a problem. That is the part of you that has been ignored, finally asking for your attention. The more you sit with it, the more you begin to understand it. You begin to notice your thoughts without reacting to them. You begin to feel your emotions without running away. You begin to see yourself more clearly, and, slowly, something changes. That uncomfortable silence turns into calm. That heavy feeling turns into peace. Because now, you are no longer disconnected. You are present with yourself. And when you are connected to yourself, you no longer depend on others to fill that space. You no longer feel empty when you are alone. You no longer need constant distraction to feel okay. Instead, you begin to enjoy your own presence. You begin to find comfort in your own space. You begin to feel complete without needing anyone else. So understand this deeply. You were never truly lonely. You were just disconnected from yourself. And the moment you rebuild that connection, loneliness disappears. And what remains is peace. You don't miss them. You miss who you were with them. There are moments when someone leaves your life, and it feels like something inside you has been taken away. You replay memories again and again. You think about the conversations, the moments, the way they made you feel, and your mind keeps telling you the same thing. I miss them. But pause for a moment and look deeper. Do you really miss them? Or do you miss how you felt when you were with them? Because what hurts the most is not always the person. It's the feeling you had in their presence, the attention they gave you, the way they made you feel seen, the way they made you feel important, the way you felt more alive, more confident, more complete. And when that is gone, it feels like you lost a part of yourself. But here is the truth most people don't realize. You didn't lose them. You lost the version of yourself that you became around them. You lost the feeling, and your mind confuses that feeling with the person. So it tells you to go back. It tells you that being with them again will bring that feeling back. It tells you that they are the source of what you are missing. And that's why you feel the urge to return. Even if they hurt you, even if the connection was not healthy, even if deep down you know it wasn't right. Because you are not just attached to them, you are attached to how you felt with them. And this is where many people get stuck. They keep going back to the same person. Not because that person is good for them, but because they are chasing a feeling they don't know how to create on their own. They are chasing validation. Attention, connection, a sense of being wanted. But the truth is, that feeling did not come from them. It was created within you in response to them, which means something very important. It means you are capable of feeling that way without them. You are capable of feeling alive. You are capable of feeling valued. You are capable of feeling complete. But you forgot that. You gave them the credit for something that was always inside you. And now, it feels like without them, you have lost it. But you haven't. You've just disconnected from it. The moment you stop chasing them and start reconnecting with yourself, that feeling slowly begins to return, not in the same way, not dependent on someone else, but from within you. Stronger, more stable, more real. And when that happens, something powerful shifts. You stop feeling the need to go back. You stop confusing memories with meaning. You stop chasing what once felt good, but was not right. Because now you understand the truth. You were never missing them. You were missing yourself. And the moment you find your way back to yourself, you no longer look at them as something you lost. You see them as something that helped you realize what you need to build within yourself. And that is where real healing begins. Stop holding people who are meant to leave. There is a quiet pain that comes when you feel someone slipping away from your life. You sense the distance. You notice the change in their energy. You feel that something is not the same anymore. And instead of accepting it, you hold tighter. You try harder. You give more of your time, more of your attention, more of your effort. You tell yourself, maybe if I do more, they will stay. But deep inside, you already know the truth. When someone is meant to leave, no amount of effort can make them stay the way they once did. And yet, we resist, because letting go feels like losing. It feels like failure. It feels like something is ending that you are not ready to end. So you keep holding, even when it hurts, even when it drains you, even when it takes away your peace. You hold on to their messages. You hold on to memories. You hold on to the version of them that no longer exists. And slowly, this holding turns into suffering, because you are trying to keep something alive that has already started to fade. Understand this clearly. Holding on is not always love. Sometimes it is fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear of facing life without them. And because of this fear, you try to control something that was never in your control. You try to control how they feel. You try to control whether they stay. You try to control the outcome. But people are not things you can hold on to forever. They are free. And if their path is taking them away from you, no force can bring them back in the same way. The more you try to hold, the more it hurts. The more you resist, the more you suffer, because you are fighting reality. And fighting reality always drains your peace. But there is another way, a quieter, stronger way. And that is letting go. Not in anger, not in ego, but in understanding. Understanding that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people come to teach you something. Some come to show you something about yourself. Some come to give you a moment, not a lifetime. And when their role is complete, they leave, not to hurt you, but because their part in your journey is over. When you understand this, letting go becomes easier. You stop blaming yourself. You stop chasing. You stop trying to force something that no longer flows naturally. And instead, you release. You allow them to go where they are meant to go. And in doing so, you give yourself something priceless. Peace. Because now, you are no longer holding on to something that is slipping away. You are no longer exhausting yourself trying to keep what cannot be kept. You are no longer living in fear of losing. You are simply allowing life to unfold as it is meant to. And here is the most powerful part. When you stop holding on to the wrong people, you create space for the right ones. Not because you are searching, but because you are no longer blocking your life by holding on to what needs to leave. So understand this deeply. You don't lose people by letting them go. You lose yourself by trying to hold on to them when they are already gone. And the moment you choose to release, you don't become weak. You become free. Your need for validation is destroying your self-worth. There is something very quiet, but very powerful, that controls how most people feel about themselves. It is not their actions. It is not their effort. It is not even their true value. It is how others respond to them. A message can make you feel important. A delay can make you feel ignored. A compliment can lift you. A lack of attention can bring you down. And, without realizing it, your worth starts depending on people, on their words, on their reactions, on how much they choose you. And this is where the problem begins. Because the moment your worth depends on others, it is no longer stable. It keeps changing. One day you feel confident. The next day you feel insecure. One moment you feel enough. The next moment you feel like you are not. Why? Because you are not seeing yourself clearly. You are seeing yourself through other people's eyes. And people are not consistent. Their attention changes. Their mood changes. Their interest changes. Sometimes they are present. Sometimes they are distant. And if your worth is tied to that, you will never feel steady. You will always feel like something is missing. So you start chasing validation. You try to say the right things. You try to act the right way. You try to become someone that people will approve of. You want them to like you, to choose you, to value you. Because deep inside, you are waiting for someone to confirm that you are enough. But here is the truth that changes everything. No amount of validation will ever feel enough if you don't believe it within yourself. You can receive attention and still feel empty. You can receive compliments and still doubt yourself. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. Because the problem is not the lack of validation. The problem is the lack of self-acceptance. When you don't believe in your own worth, you keep looking for someone else to prove it to you. And even when they do, it never lasts. Because your mind will question it again, and again, and again. This is how you slowly lose your power. You hand it over to people without even noticing. You let them decide how you feel about yourself. You let their behavior control your confidence. You let their attention define your value. But the moment you stop seeking validation, something powerful happens. You start looking inward instead of outward. You start asking yourself, not others. You start trusting your own voice. You start accepting yourself as you are, without needing approval. And slowly, your worth becomes stable. Not because people changed, but because you did. Because now, your value does not depend on how someone treats you. It comes from how you see yourself, from how you respect yourself, from how you stand by yourself, even when no one else does. And when your worth comes from within, it cannot be taken away. It cannot be shaken by someone's silence. It cannot be broken by someone's absence. It becomes yours. So, understand this clearly. The more you seek validation, the more you lose yourself. But the moment you stop asking others to tell you who you are, you finally begin to see your true value. And that is where real confidence begins. Not loud, not forced, but quiet, stable, and unshakable. The moment you stop chasing, everything changes. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from always chasing. Chasing attention, chasing replies, chasing people who are unsure about you. At first, you don't even notice it. It feels normal to try, normal to reach out, normal to hope that if you just do a little more, things will finally feel right. So you keep going. You send another message. You wait for a reply. You check your phone again and again. You try to keep the conversation alive. You try to hold the connection together, even when it feels one-sided. And slowly, it starts draining you. Not all at once, but little by little, your mind becomes restless. Your thoughts become repetitive. Your energy becomes heavy. Because, deep down, you are chasing something that is not flowing naturally. And the truth is simple, even if it's hard to accept. When something is meant for you, you don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to constantly prove your worth. But when you don't see your own value, you start chasing people to feel it. You start trying harder, giving more, hoping they will finally see you the way you want to be seen. And this is where you lose your peace. Because chasing puts you in a constant state of waiting for a reply, waiting for attention, waiting for signs, and your happiness becomes delayed, dependent on someone else's response. But something powerful happens the moment you stop, not because you are giving up, but because you are waking up. You begin to see clearly. You begin to notice who is truly present and who is not. You begin to feel the difference between effort and force, between connection and confusion. And most importantly, you begin to choose yourself. You stop sending messages just to get a response. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't try to understand. You stop holding conversations that feel empty. You stop running after people who are not running toward you. And suddenly, everything becomes quiet. Your mind slows down. Your thoughts become clear. Your energy returns to you because you are no longer wasting it on chasing. You are no longer trying to earn a place in someone's life. You are no longer depending on someone else to feel valued. You are simply present with yourself. And in that stillness, you start to see things as they truly are. You see who shows up without being asked. You see who values you without needing to be convinced. You see who belongs in your life without confusion. Because when you stop chasing, you stop forcing. And when you stop forcing, what is real stays, and what is not fades away on its own. That is the shift. You move from effort to ease, from confusion to clarity, from need to peace. So understand this deeply. Chasing is not a sign of love. It is a sign of not seeing your own worth. And the moment you truly see your value, you don't feel the need to run after anyone, because you know this truth within you. What is meant for you will not need to be chased, and what needs to be chased is not meant to stay. When you need no one, you become unstoppable. There comes a moment in your life, quiet but powerful, when something inside you changes, not on the outside, not in the people around you, but within you. You stop feeling the constant need for someone to be there. You stop waiting for messages to feel okay. You stop looking for attention to feel important. And, for the first time, you feel stable on your own. This is not loneliness. This is strength. Because now, your emotions are no longer controlled by others. Your peace does not rise and fall based on someone's presence. Your happiness is no longer tied to whether someone chooses you. It comes from within you, and that changes everything. When you need no one, you stop chasing. You stop begging for attention. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop settling for half effort and empty connections because you no longer fear being alone. And that fear was the only thing keeping you stuck. Think about it. Most people stay in situations that drain them, not because they are happy, but because they are afraid. Afraid of silence, afraid of emptiness, afraid of starting over. So they hold on to people who don't treat them right. They accept less than they deserve. They ignore what they feel, just to avoid being alone. But when you remove that fear, you become free. Free to walk away from anything that disturbs your peace. Free to say no without guilt. Free to choose what truly feels right for you. And this is where real power begins. Because now, you are not easily controlled. No one can manipulate your emotions by giving or taking away attention. No one can lower your value by ignoring you. No one can make you feel incomplete. You are already complete. And when you are complete within yourself, you don't depend on people. You connect with them. There is a difference. Dependence says, I need you to feel okay. Connection says, I choose you, but I am already okay. And this is what makes you unstoppable, because now your life is not built on unstable things. It is built on something solid. Yourself, your awareness, your inner peace. So no matter who comes or who goes, you remain steady, you remain clear, you remain grounded. And from that place, you make better decisions. You build healthier connections. You attract people who respect your energy instead of draining it, because you are no longer chasing, you are no longer seeking, you are simply living from a place of wholeness. And people can feel that. They can feel your calm. They can feel your independence. They can feel that you are not someone who can be easily shaken, and that naturally changes how the world responds to you. But the most important change is how you feel within yourself. You no longer wake up with emotional weight. You no longer feel controlled by someone's behavior. You no longer lose yourself in people. Instead, you feel light, clear, free. And that is what being unstoppable truly means. It doesn't mean you don't care about people. It doesn't mean you isolate yourself. It means your peace is not dependent on anyone. It means your happiness is not borrowed. It means your life is not controlled by external things. It belongs to you. So understand this deeply. The goal is not to stop loving people. The goal is to stop needing them to feel complete. Because when you reach that point, you don't lose connection. You experience it in its purest form, without fear, without control, without dependency. And that is where true freedom begins. Because the moment you need no one is the moment nothing can control you anymore. Before you leave this video, pause for a moment and be honest with yourself. How much of your life has been controlled by people? How many times have you waited for a message, for attention, for someone to choose you, just to feel okay? How many nights have you overthought, replayed conversations, questioned your worth, just because someone was distant? And how many times did you lose your peace, trying to hold on to someone who was already slipping away? Sit with that, because this is not weakness. This is what happens when you forget where your happiness truly comes from. But now you see it. Now you understand. Your peace was never supposed to be in someone else's hands. Your worth was never supposed to be decided by someone else's behavior. Your happiness was never supposed to depend on who stays or who leaves. It was always yours. You just gave it away without realizing. But the beautiful part is, you can take it back right now, not by becoming cold, not by pushing people away, but by coming back to yourself, by choosing your peace over your fear, by choosing your truth over your need to be accepted, by choosing to stand alone rather than lose yourself in someone else. Because the moment you stop needing people to feel complete is the moment you stop being controlled. The moment you stop chasing is the moment your mind becomes quiet. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you finally see your own value. And the moment you come back to yourself is the moment your life begins to change. So don't be afraid of being alone. Be afraid of losing yourself just to keep someone else. Because people will come, people will go. But you are the one who stays. So build a connection with yourself that no one can break. Create a peace within you that no one can take. And become someone who doesn't need to be chosen, because you have already chosen yourself. And when you reach that place, you won't just feel free, you will finally feel at home within yourself.